Hey Geminis, and welcome to your August 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And for Geminis, I feel like you are tired of something coming into this month actually, and I feel that August is actually going to be like really incredible, really benevolent, really great for you. You've kind of already done your time, you've kind of already faced a lot of the difficult things, so I do sense Gemini to be a little bit frustrated coming in as things are not all sunshines and sunshine and flowers this month for you guys if I can talk. Um, yeah, you guys have to um, be ready to see you this month. You have to be ready to see yourself give you what you've needed. Not relying very much on other people, not relying much on other experiences to provide you what you couldn't give yourself. You are quite a bit healthier than most of the other zodiac signs, but you might not see other people really validating that for you, as I do sense Gemini to be a little bit of a if I could be honest, like a scapegoat for other people this month, and you've been for a little while. I feel like it's either a scapegoat or you're like what other people need to vent on. Like it's like people are having to vent a lot to Gemini, or having to always like place their pain in Gemini to then be like transmuted and recommunicated into something better. So a lot of people are maybe even being a bit psychically vampiristic to you because they realize that you can make their problems vanish actually, or spin them in a way that they're not as overwhelming. So I do feel that this is a month where Gemini does have to lay it on the line. Especially if you're not feeling healthy, if you're not feeling 100% this month, it's going to be important for you not to be in service to everyone else. Because I do feel something has stacked up. Something has stacked up for Gemini. And I'm not going to go like way too long, way too overwhelming, way too over the top for this reading, because it's actually pretty simple. And I don't want to make Gemini's mind be like too hyper analytical about the things going on here. But you have the moon, you have the devil, you have the world reversed, you have the hermit reversed. There are a lot of deeper, darker energies that are combined in a way that is kind of difficult to escape or difficult to fix or heal, but you do just that this month through drawing boundaries, I feel, and also through recoloring yourself to people in your life, and not necessarily being that person who fixes everything for everyone. On one hand, it is the people's fault who have maybe used you a bit, Gemini, or who have expected you to be something that wasn't right for you. But if you can't draw those boundaries, or if you can't, you know, say no or decline people, like it does start to sort of become like your problem, and it does start to sort of become your issue to fix. People are not understanding what's actually going on with you. I will say that there is an image that you're projecting that I feel other people are eating up. It's like you're being for other people what they want you to be, and that is a servant. That is someone who serves others and who gives unconditionally to others, and I feel like that has to be reined in a bit this month. You've got to have a bit more fun. I feel like it's important for Gemini in August to start to have fun again and to start to enjoy themselves again. You had Saturn opposite you for such a long time, and we're really getting far away from that. So no more do you really have to martyr yourself, or do you really have to become like a public servant or a servant for many people around you. You can really start to do what you want to do, and you can start to do what it is that you need to do as well. I do feel like, kind of similar to Leo's, Geminis are maybe wanting a bit of self-sabotage unconsciously. So look at your desires. Are they good for you? Is receiving what you get from doing what you want actually something that you like now? Because I do think Gemini's desires have changed a lot. I think Gemini has shifted, and Gemini has established a lot of new purposes in life, yet are treating their life as it was maybe 10 years ago, and wanting the things that they wanted 10 years ago in a different type of purpose cycle. So this month definitely serves as a time to redefine that, Gemini, as a time to go into solitude. For a lot of you, we have a lot of solitude energy, a lot of nocturnal energy coming in, and to draw boundaries for sure, and re-establish a friend group or a support network that is not using you as a servant, basically. So Anyway, Geminis, I'm going to go ahead and get into the week to week and see what else comes up here. So, week number one, Geminis, you have Knight of Wands rooted down by the moon. I actually really like that combination of energies. I don't know why, but to me, that feels like nocturnal journeys or enjoying the nighttime, enjoying the moonlight, and healing, like charging your batteries through the moonlight. I sense a lot of you taking trips and traveling during the nighttime, flying during the nighttime, driving during the nighttime, and having soul evolving moments within that. Like you see certain images or you experience certain stimulus at during nighttime travel that is karmically revitalizing to you. So I would definitely recommend that all Geminis do that. You know, take a nighttime drive. If you're flying somewhere, like nighttime flights or even like nighttime walks, so like going out for a walk during nighttime, some type of movement during night is something that you need right now. It relates some kind of karmic thing. It evolves some type of karmic cycle. And that's what I always go back to when we're talking about karmic cycle evolution. A lot of times we transcend karma or we have soul level evolutions when we're not trying or when we're not really focusing that. A lot of times it happens through random stimulus that connects some type of dot, either from a past life or from a like nerve point of view. So like we have nerves within our bodies that obviously relay messages back to our consciousness, back to our brain. So when those nerves are stimulated in a certain way through a certain type of touch or a certain type of stimulus, that can sometimes recalibrate you. And I do sense Gemini is recalibrating through some type of nocturnal experience. And I also feel like that gets pushed even further in the second week, Gemini, where you have Five of Cups reversed, rooted down by the Hermit reversed. You are kind of in shadow work mode there, it feels like. Five of Cups is kind of like a minor arcana of the Hermit. The figures are very similar. They're both cloaked. They're both kind of looking down. And they're not really connecting with a lot of other people. It's both very solitary energies. So I do sense Gemini to be quite alone, to be quite solitary during that time. And I think that it's very supported and very encouraged. You need to shine light where there is not much in your life, I feel like. Gemini is pretty good at pushing things out or acting like things don't exist or even forgetting about certain things which don't feel good anymore. So I feel like the second week is an important period of cleansing and purging the things in your life which you no longer need by looking at them and by actually doing so versus just kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I feel like out of sight, out of mind is not so wonderful for Gemini in August, and I feel like you need to directly confront what isn't working and also use that process to go within and see yourself in a new way. It's also a sign to me in the second week that you need to beware of pessimism as well. Gemini generally isn't a very pessimistic sign, but it is very realistic. So if you find yourself in more majority negative situations, you might start to feel very pessimistic or feel very negative, and perhaps even mistake that for realism or justify it in that way. I think that after the second week, you need to start seeking out things which you consider to be more fun, more positive, more optimistic, after you've seen what that is in the second week. So when you're in the second week, just kind of look around, see what you need to detach from, see what you need to distance yourself from. And don't be afraid to go within and make those choices and be final about those choices as well. I feel like Gemini doesn't need to go back and forth too much or doesn't need to be too indecisive. And I actually think that it's going to be easier than you think to make the hard decisions that you need to make once you're there. I feel like there could be a bit of dread moving into August. Like Gemini's like, oh no, I have to make these decisions that I've needed to make for a long time. I dread this, but I feel like when you're actually there, it's not nearly as bad as you think it is. So try to not hype yourself up too much. You need to be able to let this solitary notion come in and embrace it slightly, but very quickly it also feels like you need to come out of that. Both of those cards are reversed, which is saying that too much solitude or too much self-inspection can be overkill, I think. And you can heal a lot by not over-focusing that. So by the third week, you're not needing so much solitude, you're not needing so much self-reflection, as you should have gotten most of that in June and July. So week number 3, though, Gemini, Ace of Pentacles reversed, rooted down by Eight of Pentacles reversed. You are focusing your production in this week, and I'm happy to see that because the first half of August feels very much about, your inner aspects your inner turmoil and fixing that. And then the second half of July, I'm sorry, the second half of August is much more about the macrocosmic and building what you're tailoring towards the world. And the third week calls you to not fret too much about lack, or don't think so much, oh my gosh, I don't have the money to start this business, I don't have the savings to take a break. You might, if you think about it, find a lot of lacks where they don't actually exist. So Ace of Pentacles reversed, you might even feel like something is taken away from you, or like you don't make the money that you expected to make. Money is definitely emphasized in that week, and one way or another something is being given to you, something is being given very clearly. But if you think too much about it, or if you make it too much of a big deal, you might be able to convince yourself that something's actually being taken away. Sometimes when the ace is reversed, we can take what is a very giving action and contort it into something that's kind of taxing. So taxes are emphasized. I feel like it's good to deal with taxes. What is taxing you in the third week? What is taking your energy? What is skimming off of what you're making or creating? And how can you make that less? So accountants, I feel, are very good. Something referring to the synchronization of your budgets feels very supported, and also finding new purpose relating to your career or relating to the way you're making money. You do have Eight of Pentacles reversed, which is like the hard work, the enthusiasm of creating something incredible, the small details, the small edges on a really big project, and that's in reverse for you. So you might just not be loving what you're doing for a living that much right now. Likewise, some of you may be just changing up the way that you do it, or changing up your routine. You may still love what you do, but it is encouraged to change the routine or change your general way of doing these projects. Also for the third week, I feel that you can, for some of you who own like big businesses or are very entrepreneurial, like hiring new employees is very supported. Something that makes the work burden on you less is good. And I also feel that with Ace of Pentacles, it's supported to spend on that. Like you have the budgeting that you need, you have the finances you need. Sometimes Ace of Pentacles reversed can be an expenditure of money, so you have less money, but it's very helpful. It's like a good expenditure of money. So think about ways that you can spend, but receive a big reward on behalf of what you are spending. Anything you can do, though, to recalibrate your purpose, to start to enjoy what has been so successful for you, again, is good. And for a very small percentage of you, you may have to think about a shift, over the rest of this year. Like, what can you shift into? How can you change the path? Because I do sense like a small percentage of you just really do not want to do what you're doing right now anymore. So whenever you have that feeling, whenever you have that, I can't do this, I hate this, I really dislike what I'm doing, sometimes it's not responsible to just on a whim immediately change that. Gemini is the type of sign, though, that can get away with that can do that can, make a spontaneous decision and make it work. But whenever you have that, it is very important to at least plan, like, how within 6 months can I be on a different path? What choices can I make in the next 6 months? How can I save to do what I've wanted to do for a long time? I feel that that's imperative for all Geminis during this week. In the fourth week, Geminis, you have the Devil rooted down by the World reversed. I definitely feel this to be the most energetic and most potent week of your month, this in the first week, because I like to see the Devil and the World together, actually, because it does say to me that, the things that you've been chained to, which you haven't liked anymore, the difficult addictive cycles in your life, can finally come to a close and come to an end here. The World is all about complete endings, the end of a story, the end of a chapter. So I definitely think that any codependent relationships, abusive people in your lives, people that are causing you harm, or even desires to self-sabotage can end here. And this is a beautiful, beautiful way to end this month. And it makes sense also why the beginning of your reading could feel a little bit heavy, why you're reanalyzing all of the sectors of your life, because something that's been very hard, like a deep aspect of you, a deep aspect of your life, is culminating, is ending. And that's beautiful, but it doesn't usually happen by magic. It doesn't usually happen overnight, and it doesn't usually happen by people either repressing, detaching, or, out of sight, out of mind mentality using, you know what I mean? So, yeah, this month might be a little bit difficult. Very beautiful, very stimulating, very calibrating, but hard hitting, hard hitting. Lots of potent things coming up that question the well defined structures that are present already, and if they need to change, if they need to adapt, and if they need to sync in some cases. You have the King of Cups as your central theme, so for some of you, this is like a very masculine water sign in your life who might be dictating a lot of this or might be really connected into these cycles which are ending. For others of you, that's going to be a component of your own personality. So the more refined, controlled, watery aspects of your personality, the emotions that you don't necessarily show, the emotions that you've controlled really well, those are wrapping up the entirety of this month for you. The well-controlled emotions, but the deep emotions, those are front and center and have to be reanalyzed and perhaps adapted for some of you. I do think that it's supported for you to be around these types of people, though. So I'm especially feeling like masculine Cancer energy, especially is what I'm feeling with that. So for those of you who have Cancers, it's good to be around them. But like the types of Cancers who are well evolved, well aged, well wisdomed, I want to say, in their emotional output. Not really needy, frustrated, fearful Cancers. Not that type of Cancer, but Cancers who have it figured out will be really helpful for Gemini this month. I also feel that Geminis who have Cancer in their chart probably watch that reading as well, but you feel like more lucky with that. One way or another, check the hard-hitting, potent aspects of your emotional world, of your interior world, and see how they resonate and articulate with what you're doing for a living, with how you're choosing to unfold your life, and see if you can't come into a new type of integration there. Anyway, Geminis, it's been such an honor to be here reading for you. I hope this reading resonated. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to subscribe to my channel yet, I would so appreciate that. Your likes and comments mean the world to me. You can click the center of your screen to check out my Patreon page, and the description box below shows my social media if you would like to reach out and book a reading or whatever it is that you would like to do. Anyway, we will be talking in September. Much love. Check your sun, moon, rising sign. Talk soon. Bye.